Okay, guys. Services. I was just, ready to start up. Nothing special. And of course, we gotta update it again. So we're gonna sit here for a minute. What's going on here? Uh, and, and sorry, guys. Sometimes that's just how it goes. They're up. Anyways, sorry about that. Let me just change the thing so you can at least see my annoyed face. Right. Yay. How it goes. So, so then I say, let's look at something about the last episode. Well, listen.
It's been
God.
4.5 years since Ark's last actual story DLC map. 7 years since its last chronological story map.
Okay. I really like him, but not really. That's kind of weird. I think instead I will put on. We're gonna go to the lovely Chill Hop FM. Into the yes. Yeah. Talk. Chats and stuff. If there's any. Yeah. I'm pretty far in a year. Had no one watching. Now I have a steady stream of people coming in there. It's really nice. Not the I didn't exactly expect anyone watch. Kinda nice. Feel like might actually thing I could do. Of course it's at 20%. Make sure why don't you come to me so I can pet you instead of just whining at me? A brat. Yes. Gotta change the title of this. Okay, so sorry for the wait, guys. Definitely don't enjoy making. Sometimes that's just how it goes. But how do we sound? But okay, I'm not liking. Okay, I'm not liking. Okay, how do I sound up? That's one. Okay, well, perfect. Oh, okay, there we go, guys. That should be it. So, how do I sound now? How do I sound now? I sound beautiful. Perfect. Okay. So, everyone, we're here. We're about to start. I just gotta see where the update is. Ooh, opened Xbox on accident. Definitely don't want to open Xbox. Holy crap, why is it taking forever for 9 gigs? It always is like that with the ARC updates. It's like the only updates that take forever for me. Oh no. Where's that text? Sitting here looking at the multi-chat, so don't worry. I can hear you. Anything. Just sitting here, chilling. Waiting. Thought it was gonna be longer, but you know. Um, not sure what it should do. This will be fun. Let's look at what I should do.
valuable and essential creatures you need to tame in Ark. This list will be focused on base game creatures that are available on almost every single map, so no DLC creatures. These creatures are all essential in aiding you in progressing through any map in the game. The list is ordered in the way of what player level you can unlock each creature saddle at, to make the video much easier to follow for newer players. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. What better way to kick off the video than with the parasaur? Harvesting berries, especially narca berries, is a pain in the bum to do by hand, and I think it's safe to say that the parasaur is your early easy ticket to a wealth of narcotics, which will open the door to taming more advanced creatures later down the line. You'll find the parasaur spawning around the beaches and jungles on most maps. In the central south, easy spawns of Scorched Earth, the Green Zone on Aberration, and in the Sunken Forest and the City of Extinction. Tamed via a well-placed bowler for an easy knockout, preferring basic kibble, but you will most likely be taming it on berries, as it's one of the best early game tames that you can get your hands on. The saddle is unlocked at level 9 and can be crafted inside the player's inventory. Once saddled, you'll have a great early game land mount for harvesting berries and to aid you in holding heavy loads with a decent weight capacity. It is no fighter by any means, but it offers great utility for such an easy to obtain dino. It has a honk ability, which can be used to scare away a variety of small to medium creatures, giving you long enough to escape if need be. And of course its most useful ability, which is the radar scan. This can be triggered when mounted or via its radial menu with a number of options to choose from. When set in turret mode, the parasaur will call out and scan for any nearby potential hostile creatures or enemy players. This will be visible with a red aura on screen, a great tool to use in PvP and PvE alike. This ability is great when playing Scorched Earth if you're looking to tame a phoenix, which only appears during a heatwave. However, with the parasaur radar mode, you can scan and find a wild phoenix before a heatwave even occurs. Up next is going to be the mammoth, a personal favourite creature of mine. The mammoth is a powerful herbivore that you'll find in the colder areas on the map. If there's a snow biome, you'll find plenty of mammoths to tame. Of course, being as they do spawn in the snow biome, this is extremely dangerous
Okay,
and
so
very
that's
cold,
pretty
so you
interesting.
do have to be well equipped and have your wits about you. Tamed via typical knockout methods. If for some reason you do not own a flyer, I like to sail down the coast and bait the mammoth I want to tame into a trap. You can then knock it out safely and sail it away from danger if need be. Preferring superior kibble, but once again you'll most likely be taming your first one on berries. Once tamed, the saddle can be unlocked at level 31 and crafted inside a smithy.
I like the
is
mammoth
great
a lot.
battle mount with
It's
great
probably
health,
one of my
damage,
favorite
and weight
creatures.
stats, able to dish out a powerful stomp attack.
I didn't
to
think
use
I'd
for
like it as
knockback.
much as I
With this
do,
attack,
but
it can gather wood like an absolute trooper, while having a whopping 75% weight reduction for it. Boasting a primary directional
it.
tusk
That
attack
would.
with great DPS
You can
and
carry so
knockback
much
too.
wood with that
Placing the camera
motherfucker.
forward will perform a quick, straight tusk attack facing to the left or right. Will perform a giant tusk swipe, which is the best attack for harvesting a ton of berries in one singular swipe. This attack is also great for harvesting thatch. Not only that, but it can grab smaller creatures and humans in its trunk and yeet them into oblivion. Its utility does not end there. The mammoth is an exceptional support mount, able to perform a trunk bellow, which will apply the intimidated debuff to targets. Any affected targets will inflict 25% less damage for the duration of 15 seconds and can be replenished whenever the mammoth performs the bellow. Can potentially be very useful in PvP, as affected players cannot use bolas or net projectiles when affected. There's more unique features to this bellow. For example, if the mammoth is standing in water, it can hydrate the player by giving them a free shower. Also, once used in water, it can store one charge of water in its trunk. It can also cancel the burning effects of any source of damage that inflicts the In Flames debuff. For example, the Fire Wyvern's Breath attack. Moving on to its second ability, which is the Ready for War buff. This occurs when a player is banging out a tune on the drum kit in the passenger seat.
That's
and can
probably
be
my
used for
favorite part.
successful rounds in a row, and can be used to constantly apply the buff. When active, this buff gives nearby allied players and creatures immunity to the Uteranus Fearoar and massive stamina regeneration. One thing to note is that creatures do have to be mounted to gain the benefits. All of these reasons are why the mammoth is one of the most useful creatures in the game. Up next, we have the Doedicurus. So we go from one valuable resource gatherer to the next. There's not many that can compare to the Doedicurus. You'll typically find them spawning around the mountainous regions, the redwoods, pretty much anywhere on Scorched Earth minus the mountains or the dunes, Aberration's Green Zone, and most commonly in the desert on Extinction, and rarely below the obelisk in the Sanctuary. Tamed via typical knockout methods, preferring regular kibble for the best taming effectiveness. The saddle can be crafted inside a smithy at level 34. Once saddled, you'll be rolling around in no time at all, where you can name your first girl, Daisy Me Rollin', well known for its exceptional stone gathering capabilities, where stone gathering will never be a problem ever again, while having a 75% weight reduction for it. They are great swimmers too, so if you have an area with plenty of rocks in the water, you can go for a cheeky swim and a swing, harvesting much quicker than it can when ridden on land. On extinction, however, you will be heading straight for the lamppost, tables and chairs in the sanctuary, which when paired with the Argentavis makes for the perfect farming team. The Doedicurus is by far the most efficient gatherer when harvesting these structures, able to harvest element dust, electronics, scrap metal and crystal by the bucket load. The Doedicurus isn't flashy with its abilities, but stone is always needed in Ark. Therefore, it will always be a very valuable tame to own whatever stage of the game. It seems we are just going through a list of the best resource gatherers.
Yeah,
in
the
game
Dodo
at
is
the moment,
probably
and the Ankylosaurus is another exceptional resource gatherer, and is one of my personal favorite
my
creatures
fourth.
in the game for good reason.
This
You'll
one's
find
my
the
second
Ankylosaurus
favorite
typically
right there.
spawning around the mountainous regions and the snow biome. On Scorched Earth, they pretty much spawn everywhere minus the dunes. On Aberration, they spawn in the blue
Man,
zone,
that's
and on
probably
Extinction, you'll find them in the
third.
city, the snow dome, the desert dome, and the sunken forest. Tamed via typical knockout methods, preferring regular kibble for the best taming effectiveness. Once
Yeah,
tamed, they can be
Anky.
saddled up
Anky,
at level
I
36,
spend so
which
much
can be
time with
crafted
the
in a
Anky and
spiffy. The
metal.
Ankylosaurus, despite not being one of the largest or fastest herbivores, makes up for it with its tanky health, while also able to dish out some strong attacks with its deadly tail swing and bite. So it is more than capable of defending itself against dangerous predators. Its bite can be used to harvest berries and has a much faster attack speed, and the tail swing attack deals higher damage, but is slower to perform. Of course, the Ankylosaurus is mostly well known for its ability to gather bucket load, while having a massive 85% weight reduction for it. And just like the Doedicurus, they are great swimmers too, making them great for harvesting flint very quickly. They're also great for harvesting crystal, obsidian, sulfur and oil, just to name a few. And metal is probably the most valuable resource in the entire game, so the Anky is a must-have for any tribe. Then we have the Pteranodon. There's no denying that it will almost be every player's easy ticket to the skies. Found commonly around the beaches and redwoods on most maps, the Sanctuary and Wasteland on Extinction, a simple knockout tame that can be bowlered and KO'd with almost any weapon, but very easily with a few tranks to the face. Preferring regular kibble, but of course you'll probably be taming your first view on any type of meat you can find. Once tamed, it can be saddled up at level 38, crafted inside the player's inventory. Being able to fly freely around the map feels like a breath of fresh air. Its stats are not the best, pretty low health, terrible stamina and terrible weight, so you'll most likely need to pump a lot of levels into weight and stamina. It does have a bite attack which is nothing special, however it does also boast a spin attack when flying, which deals some pretty good damage, but don't forget to always keep an eye on that stamina as this attack does use a good chunk of it. With a high level you can easily take down dangerous threats including alpha predators to reap the rewards. They are a fast scouting mount that can get you places, including getting you to your first metal nodes. Your worst enemy when using the Pteranodon is its terrible stamina, which makes for a great name for one too.
Terrible stamina. That was great.
Which is always a vital feature to own when setting up a
That's what we gotta name our first
It's
pterodon
spawned in
now.
most caves, out in the dunes on Scorched Earth, Aberration's blue and red zone, and the
Oh my
sanctuary and
God.
sulfur fields on Extinction. Tamed passively by either equipping spoiled meat or any type of feces in your final hotbar slot. Large or medium feces for the best taming effectiveness. Walking up to it and shoving poop straight up its bum. What a way to be tamed. Once tamed, the dung beetle offers utility like no other creature in the game. So to set them up, you'll want to throw them in a cage, stick them on wander. They do have the option to enable auto collect feces. This setting should automatically be turned on once tamed. It will then automatically pick up any poop whenever your nearby creatures do the deed, and it will collect poop well above its weight capacity. Over time, your dung beetle converts the poop to oil and fertilizer. Clever girl. Moving on to our first aquatic creature on the list. The Archelon is a large herbivorous reptile and can be found on any map that has an ocean. Typically found deep down around the depth of where you begin to see plesiosaurs. However,
Just
on the
keeps
central
trying to
map,
kiss
it does
the
also
herb.
spawn around the shallow parts of the islands around the blue obelisk. So it
Dogs
is
for you,
much
though.
easier to tame over there. Tamed passively, preferring either biotoxin or superior kibble from your final hotbar slot. Once tamed, the saddle can be unlocked at level 45 and crafted in a smithy. Stats wise, they are pretty tanky with great health, stamina and weight stats. They don't deal too much damage with their bite attack, however they are completely immune to the jellyfish stun and dismount, and will deal more damage to them, where they also receive the jellyfish killer buff, which massively increases their melee damage and gives them a slight bit of damage reduction
need
for
one
the duration
then.
of 80 seconds. They can also regenerate their health pretty quickly when force-fed biotoxin. A great traversal
When
mount
force-fed
when it comes to ocean
biotoxin.
exploration, having a decent swim in speed.
Oh,
It can also
how
make its
sweet.
way to land, admittedly admittedly slower than a snail can, but it still moves on land. The saddle has 4 passenger seats, and as you can see, it has oxygen tanks on the saddle too. This isn't just for decoration. The saddle will provide oxygen to all passengers and also the rider and any player swimming nearby to the Archelon, so there's no need for scuba tanks when using it. It does have some very cool abilities, one where it passively produces its own algae over time, which can be harvested by accessing its radial menu. This takes 2 hours to regrow when the Archelon is parked on land. However, when swimming in water, it doubles the production of the algae, only taking 1 hour to cap out, where it can be harvested to begin producing more. The Archelon's food stat can also be leveled to increase the amount of algae it produces. The algae can be used as taming food for a variety of different herbivores. It works kind of like raw mutton does for carnivores, able to
I wonder
tame
if that's how they
herbivores up
pronounce
much
it
quicker
in
than berries, and with much better
Europe
taming
or something,
effectiveness.
or
But of course,
wherever
it's
he
still
is.
not as good as kibble. The algae can also be
would've
used as an
heard of
ingredient
it.
in crafting algae sushi, which you can craft in a
Most
cooking
likely
pot.
the
I'm
UK
pretty
from this
confident in
accent.
saying that we've all been there, we've all
Which
damaged
one,
a
though?
creature
I don't-
accidentally after knocking it out, therefore tanking its taming effectiveness, where there's nothing else you can do other than
Definitely
letting it
can't be
wake up and
Australian,
re-knock
though,
it out
or,
again. While those days are now over, you can force feed algae sushi to any knockout tame, and it will improve any lost taming effectiveness by roughly 10%,
That'd be
which
so
will have a
embarrassing
cooldown of
if I
5 minutes, and once that timer is up, you can force feed it another, and rinse and repeat to get that creature back up to the full 100% taming effectiveness, which can be an absolute lifesaver. Owning any level of Archelon will be extremely beneficial to any player. Up next, we have another personal favorite of mine, which
Oh,
is
I
the
love this
Baryonyx.
one.
Another extremely versatile semi-aquatic mount, a pretty average battle mount on paper for its size. However, it does have a lot of utility and advantages going its way, making it a go-to pick for many survivors. Found commonly throughout the swamps and the rivers
the
on both
Baryonyx.
maps. Aberrations
The
Blue
Baryonyx
tamed
is
via
so much
typical
fun.
knockout methods, preferring regular kibble for the best taming efficiency. Once tamed, can be saddled up at level 49 and crafted in a smithy. With its speed, agility, ability to jump while having a very slim build, makes it a very
Now we're gonna
popular
take a
pick for
quick
running
peek
many caves on
at
most maps, as
my
it can fit
thing,
into
and
almost all of the island caves without needing cryopods.
42. This was supposed to be quicker than I quicker, but now it's just taking forever.
Also the perfect land mountain, opening the door to ocean exploration, as it does not possess an oxygen stat. Equipped with a deadly tailspin attack that can only be used when swimming, this attack can temporarily stun a wide variety of small to medium creatures or players, making the Baryonyx very dangerous in the water. And if
I
that
didn't
wasn't
even know
enough,
that.
it also has great healing
Like a lot of
properties
these things
too.
about
It is
these
a
creatures,
possible,
though.
however, is able to heal much quicker than most
But it's not
carnivores
like
when
I'm some kind of
force-fed fish meat.
professional.
It can also heal
I only
large
played it
chunks
for
of
like
health when killing fish. So with all these offensive and
months.
defensive capabilities combined at its disposal,
I did play
makes
for a
the
long time
Baryonyx
and
one
learned
of
a
the
lot,
best
but
all-rounders in the
not
entire
that
game.
much.
Moving back to land, we have the Phylocolio,
I
which
keep
is one I almost
returning
left
and
off the list,
coming
as I
back
find
and-
myself questioning if it is really essential or not. And I did actually pick it over the Megatherium,
Leaving
which is a
and
creature
coming
I'd
back
probably
and
use a lot
leaving.
more than the Phyla.
You
However,
know.
the Phyla is one of the most popular creature picks for many survivors, and for good reason. You'll find the
But
Phyla
this-
commonly spawning up in the trees in the redwoods.
I'm
ready to
really
pounce
liking
on scorched earth
the
in the
Bible
Badlands
Ascended,
east
so-
side of the map, and rarely in the wasteland on extinction. Tamed via typical knockout methods, preferring either extraordinary kibble for the best
Swansea lets it do, I
effectiveness,
guess.
or cooked lamb chops for its second preferred taming food. Once tamed, can be saddled up at level 51 and crafted in a smithy. If you're looking
Why
for
do you
a
always wanna
speedy,
mess with my
agile, and
microphone?
mobile creature to traverse land,
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you. You
there are a
you are
lot
such
of
a nice
tameable
guy.
creatures in Ark Survival Ascended. In this video, I'll be showcasing the best 20 creatures with unique special abilities.
Don't act like I'm the bad guy here.
Scorched
You
earth
did
in the
that.
Badlands, east side of the map, and rarely in the wasteland on extinction. Tamed via typical knockout methods.
Swansea,
preferring either
stop.
extraordinary kibble for the best taming
We don't need to
effectiveness,
take
or
whole
cooked lamb
days
chops
and
for the
nights
second
to
preferred taming
pet
food.
you all day.
Once tamed, can be saddled up at level
This doesn't work
51
like-
and crafted in a smithy. If
I
you're looking
know,
for a
I love
speedy,
petting
agile,
you.
and mobile creature
You're one of
to
my
traverse
favorite
lands, Then
dogs.
there is nothing that beats the Phylocolio. With strong stats across the board, able to jump and scale
You're the
vertical
only
surfaces
dog
that
I ever
employees
got to
with ease
choose.
will have you traversing any terrain in no time at all. But it isn't their stats that make them shine, but the ability to quickly bleed out their target's health. Their bite attack will inflict the Nash status effect, which will drain 5% of the target's health over 5 seconds, and will ignore saddle armor. However, this effect does not work against bosses, but this does mean that the Phyla can take down far larger threats than itself, including armored beasts like the Rock Elemental, for example. Adding to this, the rider can wield their weapons when mounted, so with the combination of both, you'll be able to output a lot of damage while nipping around quickly with the Phyla's exceptional mobility. For these reasons, the Phyla is hands down one of the best battle mounts in the entire game. Coming in not so hot, we have the Daedon, the war pig. You'll find them commonly spawning in the snow biomes on most maps, and the majority of the mainland on Scorched Earth. Once again, another relatively simple knockout tame. They can be bowlered and easily trapped if you choose to do so, preferring superior kibble, but if you're cray-cray, you could tame them on any type of meat, but they eat excessive amounts of it. Once tamed, it can be saddled up at level 59. You'll then have yourself one of the best support creatures in the game, able to heal large amounts of tame creatures with its AoE heal ability. This can be triggered when mounted when pressing the alternate attack key, or can be set to enable passive heal via its radial menu, which it will trigger by itself every 20 seconds or so. If you don't want to micromanage this so much, I would usually just level up its food stat as much as possible. This ability is great for healing up your army at the cost of massively draining the Daedon's food stat. It will quickly drop to 0 food when healing a lot of creatures at the same time, so you will need a good supply of meat to fully refill its food stat. This can be done very quickly when playing solo or with no players nearby. Simply ram it full of food, fly it to render distance,
Please
or
don't
log
lick
out
my
and reload,
face.
and
Come
it will
on,
instantly
dude.
consume all the food you gave it. The Daedon can also be
I
great to
don't
take
want
in
it
boss
right
fights.
now.
Always
Come
be
on.
sure to have your Daedon set to passive and ignore group whistles. The last thing you want is for your Daedon to leave you for dead in the thick of battle, charging on in without a care in the world. Riding one in the boss fight is especially useful if you have tribe mates available, as they can output a lot of damage from the saddle with firearms while also healing your army at the same time. I sometimes do take one along when playing solo just for a safety blanket, just in case I don't feel confident that I can win the battle, so it can be a good idea to take food along for your Daedon. Cooked prime meat works a treat. I usually have an abundance of this in fridges. I do find this is one of the best uses for it after storing so much of it. This is just a few examples of what makes the Daedon so good. We now have the Argentavis, and wow, where to start? I will never find a more satisfying feeling in Ark than when I find my first high-level Argentavis. I wholeheartedly believe it is the most useful creature in the game, found commonly spawning around the mountainous regions and snow biomes on most maps, and rarely around the wasteland and edges of the sanctuary on extinction. Can easily be baited into a trap and tamed via typical knockout methods, preferring superior kibble, but if you're anything like me, you'll be taming your first ideally on raw prime meat or raw mutton. Once tamed, can be
Okay, dude,
saddled up at
stop.
level 62, which is
Stop.
crafted
You're
inside
getting
the player's
pushy.
inventory. You'll probably be asking yourself, is there anything that the Argentavis cannot
I
do?
love you, though.
Decent health, stamina, and weight stats.
How did you
Output
manage to
decent
push
damage
this
too, while
over?
causing great
He likes
knockback
to lay on
targets
my
when walking
poncho,
on
but
land. Pairing that with its rapid regeneration buff, which occurs whenever it bites or
he
gets
always
into the
moves
carcass,
it.
giving it health and
He's
stamina
kind of a
regeneration
brat.
for the duration of 20 seconds.
Like,
Able to
make
pick
my
up a wide
bed, but
variety of creatures in its
I'm
talons,
just gonna
like
ruin it.
Dicarus
He's
or
already
Brontosaurus
he's
for a
already
perfect
trying, and I haven't even
farming
gotten
team.
it
It can
done.
also pick up small creatures in its
Mm.
beak, which can make taming the otter very easy, for example, as it will keep the
These
creature in its
creatures
beak
would
when
die without
landed.
us.
The saddle can also be used as a portable smithy to craft and repair items.
They're
on
so
the go.
goofy.
Having an Argentavis fully pumped in weight makes crafting those
love
expensive
him.
blueprints a possibility, which would normally be impossible to craft in a smithy. Due to its weight reduction, it can hold a wide variety of heavy resources, the perfect companion for cargo hauling and crafting alike. Even a low-level Argentavis can serve numerous purposes. The Argentavis has and always will be one of my favorite creatures to use, whatever the map I am playing. Temporarily moving away from aggressive creatures, we have the Oviraptor, found commonly spawning around the beaches and jungles on most maps, in the east and west of Aberration's Green Zone, and rarely in the city and the sunken forest on extinction. It
Okay, so I'm not. Really liking this. This is such a long list. It's a good one though. There's lots of different creatures that I
can be
didn't
bullied and
expect
tamed
to
via
be so
typical
high.
knockout methods, preferring dino eggs as taming food. The bigger the egg, the better, and they can also be rarely
Yeah, I know the
found in the map.
bumblebee.
Obtained passively by equipping either rare flowers
And that's it. Pretty. Okay, so now we're just going to look at a
Wrong button.
that's a graph. Actually, you know what? I could look at all these really nice things in here. See, I don't even know what that means. The circles there, but no honesty. Let's look at the best tames.
Scorched earth is brutal, but these 5 tames, they turn the desert into your playground.
I am so ready.
Number 5, the
Ooh.
Morellatops. This dino is your water tank, pack mule, and day
Oh,
one
I fucking
lifesaver.
love that guy.
You'll die without one, literally. Number 4, Rock Elemental. A literal tank. Soaks damage like a boss, insane defense, and can carry raids on its stone back. Don't sleep on it. Number 3, Thorny Dragon. Spiky, savage, and can craft saddles. Great weight, solid for defense, and a smithy on legs. Number 2, the Wyvern. You don't tame it, you steal it. Then hatch a beast with speed, flight, and raw power. Flying into battle on a fire-breathing god? Yeah, nothing tops that. Number 1, the Mantis. Give this monster tools and it farms like a machine. Infinite utility, terrifying DPS, an absolute must-have. This was my list, so I'm interested to see yours.
I love the mantises. They were fun. Ooh, let's see. Let's see their tips.
Hello, welcome back for another video on Ark Survival Ascended. Today we're diving into 50 tips and tricks you need to know when playing the Scorched Earth map. I have roughly laid out the video in order of progression, starting off with beginner tips and tricks while moving into advanced later in the video. We've got a lot to
Ooh, I
talk
like
about, so
that.
let's get straight into it.
This is
Kicking
the
things
perfect
off,
kind of
let's
thing.
focus on keeping you well hydrated, which can be a big problem when playing Scorched Earth due to the intense heat and lack of water on the map. Cactus sap is the most accessible source of water. It comes in 2 different forms.
Oh.
Small cactus bushes
I didn't know I
like
could get
this,
water from
which
that.
can be found very commonly in the center of the
I've
map.
just
The
been
bushes
using
are
it to make
harvested
cut
by hand
clay.
in a small amount and can be harvested more efficiently with a whip or a metal sickle. The second form is the cactus trees, which look like this. Just by punching or harvesting these trees will gradually fill your water level without even having to consume
I've
any
just been
cactus sap.
killing
Best
the
ways to harvest
bugs.
the cactus sap is via a stone or metal hatchet, with the chainsaw being the best method. Moving on, we have the Morellatops. Once tamed, it can be used as a portable water tank. They are extremely common and are very good harvesters of the cactus sap bushes. Another thing to add, whenever cactus sap is in their inventory, they will automatically consume it, which will increase the water in their water tank, so you don't even have to take them to a water source to fill them up anymore. And if you're somehow not interested in taming one, wild ones can be killed, where you can access their water tank and drink from their carcass. The
That's
water
horrible.
jug bug is very common on Scorched Earth, and they are extremely beneficial to survivors. They look kind of freakish, but they're 100% passive. Walk on up to them, and you can suckle that sweet H2O straight out of their bum. There is also another variant of jug bug, which is the oil jug bug, and you can harvest these bugs the same way you would with the
Oil
water
jug
jug bug,
bug.
and grab 16 oil before it flies off, which can be a lifesaver at the early game. Although they cannot be tamed, what you can do is build a small pen, grapple them, and stick them in it, which technically, if you're hanging around the area for long periods, they won't despawn and you'll have an unlimited source of oil or water. The Jerboa is the most important shoulder pet on Scorched Earth.
the
Not only will they
Jerboa.
help you carry more items,
I love the
50% weight
Jerboa.
reduction
It's so
for anything
cute.
inside the inventory when on your shoulder. They have the ability to warn you of incoming weather storms minutes before they occur, and some of these storms can be very dangerous if getting caught out in them. The Jerboa will give you enough time to get yourself to a safe place to prepare for the storm. Bolas are an important piece of equipment to carry around with you. When in the early game, you'll be wanting to carry a bucket load of them. Very common threats include terrorbirds, raptors, direwolves, saber-tooths, and daedons. And luckily for us,
Daedons, I
all of
fucking
them
love
can
them.
be bolared, which will temporarily immobilize
Those
them for
things-
30
those things are
seconds,
so
giving you
useful.
enough time to get away or take them out if you have the capability to do so. Fortitude is
It's like
quite
using them
possibly
to,
the most
heal
important
everything.
static
It's
level
so
on
much
your
fun.
character. It is a measure of your
So
resistance to
easy.
the weather, torpidity, and disease. And this map is ridiculously hot. This will be your go-to tool to help deal with the extreme heat. In this clip, I had to level to 186 fortitude to overcome the 77 degrees C temperature, but I wouldn't recommend going that high. It's a waste of points. You will be able to find high-quality desert armor or ghillie armor, which will most likely come at the later stages of the game. At the end of the day, you can always just do a mind wipe later on. The tent is an absolute lifesaver. I highly recommend bringing one with you at all times. Once placed down, it will slowly decay over time. Any players inside gain a massive insulation buff and will fully protect you from the effects of a sandstorm or heat wave. Being inside a tent is also the best way to cure heat stroke. Too hot? Stick a tent down. Too cold? Stick a tent down. Need to take shower? Stick a tent down. There's no better place to be than inside a tent. The whip is one of the most useful weapons in the game. It's great for harvesting bushes, and pick up any items off the ground, including drop packages. Can temporarily stun a wide variety of creatures. When whipping tame creatures, will encourage them to move forward slightly, even when encumbered. Can force tamed flying creatures to land. In PvP, it has a 40% chance of disarming a player. It can whip riders off of their mounts, exceptionally good after being picked by a flyer. You can also wake up an unconscious player much quicker when whipping them into submission. The boomerang is another extremely useful weapon that can be unlocked at a low level, far earlier than tranks, and deals a lot of torpor. With the combination of bowlers, the boomerang will help you get some much needed tames at the early game. However, they will break like spears, so I recommend making a few. You'll be wanting to throw the boomerang at the creature's feet. This way you'll be able to skip the long return animation of the boomerang, making taming a lot quicker. Preserving Salt is also one of the most important items in the game that you probably need to keep on you the majority of the time, especially when out taming or grabbing wyvern milk. When placed into any inventory or container, Preserving Salt will double the spoil timers of all perishable items, minus organic polymer. It can be crafted in the mortar and pestle or chemistry bench. It does have a spoil timer, however if you store it in a vessel, it will pretty much have an unlimited spoil timer. Although this subject seems a little broken at the moment, as at least for me, generators never turn off during electrical storms anymore. However, it's most likely a bug and will probably get fixed, but wind locations are still very important in this game. You can view any area on the map's wind percentage by holding H on your keyboard. It will now also show up in the direct center of your inventory. The only place you can really get 100% is in the desert. However, there is this location inland that will offer 100% wind. Building in a location with 100% wind means you'll be able to power your electrical devices with a wind turbine 100% of the time without having to worry about generators or gasoline. To find silk, you'll be needing to search for these pretty purple flowers. They are found pretty much everywhere around the map. I'm here at the green obelisk just for a quick example. You can harvest these by hand with a whip, or for best results using the metal sickle. And if you're looking for a bucket load of silk in one go, find yourself a Lymantria. They are very common in the center of the map. They can be bowlered, killed, and chopped up for
Oh, I
enough
love
silk to keep you going
Lymantrias.
for a while. Adobe structures are exclusive to Scorched Earth. It is pretty much
Fuck
the only
using them
material
for
you can
silk,
build your
they're
base
so
out
much
of
more
without
useful
dying
than
from
that.
extreme heat while being inside. For example, if you build your base out of metal, you will
Squanch,
cook alive
stop.
in a matter of seconds, unless you have a bunch of ACs in your building.
No
Fat
more
structures
licking.
are the only other structure that will not cook
I'm
you
not gonna
alive.
let you lick me
Desert
no matter
Cloth
how
Armor
much
is
you
the
try to
go-to
mug me
armor
for.
set when playing Scorched Earth. It doesn't exactly provide a lot of physical protection, however it does provide the best protection against hot and cold temperatures, and believe it or not, it can get pretty cold at night. The desert goggles will also improve visibility
The desert
during a sandstorm.
goggles.
Explorer notes are a quick way to level your character or your
I
team
love the
creatures. For
desert
the most part, they are
goggles.
located in ruins, so be sure to check out any ruins that you find. For every note picked up, you will gain 100 XP. The effect will last for 10 minutes.
Seriously,
and
the
will give you
desert
double
goggles
XP
are
for that
so cool.
duration. 4 times notes can also be
This
found
make me
around
so
the map.
happy when I
They
see
do look
them.
very different to the standard Explorer notes. All note locations can be found on the Ark wiki page. I'll leave a link in the description of the video. If possible, I'd highly recommend picking them up while riding one of your tame creatures, as your creature will also get the XP buff. Collecting all Explorer notes will unlock an additional 10 levels for your character, which is big in the game. The Direwolf is the perfect companion in helping you find Explorer notes. When using the crouch key, your Direwolf will be able to sniff out nearby Explorer notes. Adding to this ability will also sniff out hidden hostile creatures, for example the rock golem or buried Palovias. The Morellatops is now the Morella Crops, and can now aid you in irrigating your crops. After planting seeds and fertilizing your crops, access your Morellatops radial menu and click the option Enable Irrigation. Your Morellatops will then go and irrigate any nearby crops that need water.
Oh, I need this. Need that. I love that. It's fun. That's a favorite.
Sandstorms can be detrimental if you get stuck out in them, draining water, stamina, and will impair you and your creature's ability to sprint. However, there are a couple of creatures that can thrive in a sandstorm. The Phasilasuchus, when burrowed, can completely move at full speed, so if there's ever a sandstorm, it's a great time to get flint. The Kangaroo is also a great way to get through a sandstorm. Their movement is still slowed, however their charge jump ability works perfectly fine, allowing you to cover a lot of ground during a sandstorm. Another odd way that you can bypass the sandstorm effect is by using any creatures with access to a platform saddle. If you have an adobe structure covering the rider, the creature will still be able to sprint at normal speed. Keep in mind these creatures will still have their stamina drained by the sandstorm. However, their stamina can be regained once you dismount in a safe place. Cactus broth is a new dish that was added with the Scorched Earth map. Once consumed, it will reduce water consumption by 50%, increase heat resistance, and the best part is that it can almost make you invisible to wild creatures, especially when paired with ghillie armor. Once transfers to the island open up, using this broth is an extremely useful tactic to get through the underwater caves unnoticed.
Lay down, dude.
Killing and harvesting a vulture's
Sup?
carcass is a great source of spoiled meat, but the best way to instantly gain a
No
ton of
licking
spoiled
my
meat is
mouth,
with
come
the toilet.
on.
You can stick all your meat in your toilet, take a seat, log
my dog
out,
for you
all the
guys.
meat inside will instantly spoil. And of course, every time you flush the toilet, you receive 1 fertilizer and a temporary XP buff. Manually crafting cemented paste is the only decent way of quickly stocking up on it. The desert is the go-to spot to find chitin. My first choice to farm chitin is always
We're going
on
back.
XP release spoil your meat, spoiled meat. But the best way to instantly gain a ton of spoiled meat is with the toilet. You can stick all your meat in your toilet, take a seat, log out, all the meat inside will instantly spoil. And of course, every time you flush the toilet, you receive 1 fertilizer and a temporary XP buff. Manually crafting cemented paste is the only decent way of quickly stocking up on it. The desert is the go-to spot to find chitin. My
Michael
first choice
Dunn.
to farm chitin is always the Megatherium. Due to there being so many bugs in the desert, you can really utilize its bug killer buff. The chainsaw is pretty decent at harvesting chitin, however I prefer to use the Megatherium as you can just steamroll everything without stopping once and barely taking any damage. And if you ever come across a deathworm, they will not be any problem for your Megatherium. The desert is also home to the best source of organic polymer, which is the mantis. If I'm after organic polymer, I will always kill the mantis and chop them up with the chainsaw, as it's the best way to gather it. Leading us on perfectly to your own organic polymer farm by taming mantis. Tame up a low-level male and a bunch of low-level females, breed them all up, let them fully mature, and whenever you're ready for some organic polymer, let the slaughter commence. Then chop them up with a chainsaw. The Phylocolio is one of the most popular battle mount picks for many survivors. We will just focus on its bleed attack, which
He
is
just
one of the
murders
strongest in the game.
his
Whenever the Phylo uses its
dinosaurs
bite
a
attack, it will
lot.
inflict the status effect Nashed, and will drain 5% of the target's health over 5 seconds. This makes the Phylo exceptionally good for taking down anything with a massive health pool. The Titanosaur is one of the best XP farms in the game. You can weaken it with the Phyla while checking its health with a magnifying glass, as it does de-aggro quite quickly. Once you've weakened it enough, grab yourself some of those explorer nodes for the extra XP buff. You will need to finish it off yourself. If you kill it with the Phyla's bleed, you will not gain any XP. My preferred way to finish it off is with a decent compound bow, which will reward your survivor with all the XP. Living next to a common rock golem spawn can have its benefits. The Phyla's bleed will completely ignore the natural armor of a rock golem, allowing for an easy kill. Grab your Anki or Doed, and you can harvest the rock golem's carcass for
I
all
remember
of the
doing that
riches,
with
with
those.
the Doedicurus being slightly better for harvesting. The artifact of the crag cave is now the go-to spot for rare mushrooms. The cave entrance is located right in the mountains next to the blue obelisk, and there are 2 types of variants in this cave. The first type are the bright glowing blue mushrooms like this. The best way I've found to harvest these mushrooms is with the Procoptodon's kick attack. Once inside the cave, you'll be wanting to head down the right path to find these mushrooms. These mushrooms are scattered throughout the path on the right side, and there's also ledges above with more of these mushrooms on top, which is great because the Procoptodon can also get you to these quite easily. The second variant of mushroom bush can be found a bit further into the cave underneath this bone. You can't miss it because you have to go past it to reach the artifact. And just get your kangaroo and jump on top of that bone and kick all you want, and you will come out with a load of mushrooms. There's also a load more in the artifact chamber. This is what they look like, and you'll be able to farm hundreds, maybe even thousands from just one cave run, depending on your harvesting rates. There is also a third type of bush in this cave, and it's these pretty looking
57%.
flowers. These are rare flower bushes. The Procoptodon is also great for harvesting these too. The Phoenix can be an absolute nightmare to find and tame. The Parasol can make this task a whole lot easier. When accessing the Parasol's radial menu, you can enable turret mode and can be picked up and carried around with a wyvern. It will ping nearby threats in the area, which are visible on screen with a red dot. You'll be able to find a Phoenix before the heatwave even
Ooh,
begins.
that's wow.
Everyone's first wyvern egg is always the most difficult to obtain. Any
Oh, yeah.
flyer you decide to use will always be a lot slower than the wild wyverns. By far the safest way is to just build a turret box right next to the wyvern trench. Park your flyer facing out from the nest, snatch the egg, and fly as quick as you can to the turret box, and your turrets will do all the work for you. The other method I use is with the moth, as they're
I didn't even know I could do that.
Poor little guys. But good saddles are quite easy to find, so do the same, snatch the egg, and you want to fly towards the mountain and bait the wyverns into any wild creatures around. Most of the time it works, but sometimes it doesn't. In this case I got lucky, and the wyverns aggroed on some wild creatures.
It was always
I
a
able to get
process
away by
trying to
slit my
get them
teeth.
before like
Back in
a
the day
whole
when
long
playing Ark
thing.
Survival Evolved, I used
Oh
to
my
always build
God.
a trap when milking female wyverns. Due to the
I
wyverns
feel
fleeing
dumb.
once they reach a certain torpor level.
Could have done
However,
that the
on
whole.
Survival Ascended, they don't seem to flee at all, or at least they don't for me.
Would have been
So
a
the
great
easiest
time
way
to
I
get.
found
Great
was
way to
just
get
turn
milk.
up on the Procoptodon, shoot the lowest level female I can find in the trench to bait it out. Ideally a lightning wyvern, as they're no threat to the rider. Kite it around in circles while shooting it with tranks. Easiest milking I've ever done in my life, and you can also kill them afterwards for a decent amount of XP. The elemental attacks from the poison wyvern
For a
is
decent amount
serious
of
threat to your
XP.
character, as these
What a
poison
dick.
balls are like homing
I love it.
rockets, and they will lock onto you. Even
He
when you
just
fly
kills
dodge, you'll be
everything.
like Keanu Reeves in the Matrix. However, if you wear a gas mask, you will be fully immune to the poison wyvern spit attack. Never dismount your wyvern when using the elemental attack. The attack can hit your character and will most likely insta-kill you. Rock golems are completely immune to wyvern elemental attacks. I do find they're really good for
I feel like I
farming
should
wyvern
blur some of
talons.
this.
I tend to just steal a
It's that
fertilizer
bad.
egg and bait all the wyverns to the rock golems, where
It's
they
just
can
brutal.
easily Hulk smash them into oblivion. The new Oasis cave near the Red Obelisk is good for many reasons. 3 high quality loot crates can be found inside, and a bunch of nasty creatures. And from my experience, all the creatures inside can be tamed. This includes the Electrophorus, which is the only
I am
aquatic
not
creature
in the
that will
mood,
spawn on this
Swanchy.
map. Another
Go lay
awesome
down
creature
now.
that can only be found in caves and can also be tamed is the Achatina. There's a chance you'll be able to find lower levels, but you'll typically
Go
find
lay
them at
down.
level 200 or more. And these ridiculously high levels can also be tamed.
Such a
On
brat.
1 times taming, this will be absolute pain, as you'll probably need stacks and stacks of sweet veggie cakes. I'm not really
You
sure
could
whether you
totally
want to tame a ridiculously high level snail,
Come
but
back
you
over,
can
but
find
you just
lower
need to
levels
stop
too.
trying to lick my mouth.
Taking to the desert and hunting deathworms and alpha deathworms is the only half decent way to farm black pearls on the scorched earth map. They will never drop a lot, but we're gonna make do with what we got, and at least we get a load of XP while doing so. Sap can be harvested from the Joshua trees scattered throughout the map. However,
Yeah,
there
you
are
do
two
get a decent
variants.
amount
One
of
does
XP.
not drop sap, and the other one does. The tree on the left is the lighter shade of Joshua tree. These cannot be harvested for sap, whereas the tree on the right is the darker shade of tree. These are the ones you want to be harvesting for sap. And by far the best tool to use is the chainsaw once again. Here's my location on the map. There's a bunch of trees in this area. Desert crates are where you can find some of the best loot in the game. In this version of the map, there are only 3 locations to search. I'm not sure if this is intentional, but a lot of the time you can double loot these crates, as they will instantly respawn once you take the items out. If you want to know more about the locations of these crates, please go check out one of my previous videos. I'll leave a link in the description of the video and in a pinned comment. The Manticore boss fight is the only boss on the map, and it is one of the easiest bosses to beat, even on alpha difficulty. All you need is a half decent army of Rexes. In ASE, I ran this fight with some pretty bad Rexes and primitive saddles, and beat alpha without taking any losses. It'll be the easiest 428 element you'll ever receive. Be sure to stick all of your belongings on one of your tame creatures, including all of the elements and items you receive from the boss fight, because you will ascend from this boss fight. Therefore, when you respawn, you'll be completely butt naked. Also, when you do respawn,
You'll be
receive a nice
completely butt
selection of
naked.
chibis. And we all love chibis and love those extra levels.
Yes, there's only a few places to go for metal on this map. It's gonna be a matter of getting a flyer and trying to level it up as quickly as I can. Ooh. That's good to know. I needed to know where the bees were. So this guy had everything in his thing. He deserved the light.
And that is gonna be the end.
Anyways, let's look at this. Okay, so 61 so far. So much fun. Sorry for the wait, guys.
Ark has released 13 content-filled maps over the years, and I've played hundreds to thousands of hours on every single one. In this video, I'll cover 5 of the most important tips for every single map that I've learned throughout the past decade of
5 of the most important
Regardless
tips.
of how experienced you are, I guarantee you that you'll find some of these tips useful in the future. I included video chapters in the description so you can skip around to the maps you actually enjoy playing. While you're down there, I'd appreciate it a ton if you could subscribe to help me reach 15k. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the info. The island's caves are some of the toughest objectives on the map, and my first tip for the caves is if you're doing the ice or tech cave, consume rare flowers as you're going through. This prevents you from being able to get dismounted by Parlovias, and it's super convenient to avoid this. The only other threat besides the weather conditions for these 2 caves is the Uranus in the tech cave because it can roar creatures into the lava. As long as you're ready for all of these things, these 2 caves are a breeze, and they're by far the hardest caves on this map. One more thing for the tech cave, I see a lot of people talking about the timer and how it's annoying that there's a timer in the cave. That timer is only for the cave portion, it's not for the cave plus overseer. If you get through the cave in an hour, which there is plenty of time to do, there's no concern about the timer for the overseer fight. Up next, I have using the baryonyx for every cave on this map besides the last 2 I just mentioned. There's other solid caving options on this map, but the baryonyx is a great choice for every cave in the game besides the ice cave and the tech cave. The reason I suggest to use the baryonyx for every cave besides those 2 is because having continuity about what creature you're using for one of the most difficult tasks on the map is really good because you can invest more time into getting a strong breed line of that creature. For the underwater caves, you definitely can use the baryonyx. It's fast, it's able to swim forever because it has unlimited oxygen, but there are some more safe choices because the eels can stun you. The best choices for these caves is probably the Basilosaurus or the Tuzoteuthis. If you have a Basilosaurus, bring a Megalodon or Zipactinus pack with you for extra DPS, but these caves are really a breeze if you're ready. My third tip is killing creatures that are low level, even if you don't do it that much on other maps. The island has notoriously bad creature levels, so cycling out the low level wild creatures gives you more opportunities to finally be given something decent. You can also use the Destroy Wild Dinos command right when you load into a server for the first time. This wipes out all the low levels and gives you a better chance of having some, at least somewhat balanced levels when you're playing through the game. My fourth tip is about silica pearls. Silica pearls are pretty spread out on this map besides 12 somewhat hidden underwater caves. On screen now you can see the coordinates to the map location for every single one of these 12 caves. To find these spots, go to the ocean floor and swim up into the small areas to collect the very dense spawns of pearls. I highly recommend using a gas mask in first person or using the r.fog_0 command as well. This improves visibility immensely when you're underwater and it helps you find these pretty hidden spots much easier. 2 more small things of note before I move on. Firstly, these silica pearls don't spawn underwater. You have to go onto land to grab them by hand, so bringing an angler down won't get you more pearls. And secondarily, some of these spots are actually really good for base locations. Not all of them have enough room, but the ones that do have a decent amount of space are really good for small tribes. My last tip for this map is to cheese boss fights. I totally understand this tip is not for every type of player. If you want to go through the map like it was intended, I totally get it. No fault to you there. But in my opinion, if you want to progress through this map somewhat efficiently, cheesing the Broodmother boss fight is a really easy way to do it. The way you pull this off is going into the arena with a really good shotgun and a Procoptodon, and once you get in, simply jump up onto the mushroom
A
on the
shotty
side
and a
of the arena and
Procoptodon.
shotgun down the boss. Nothing in this arena can hit you. You have more than enough time to kill this boss, and then you get element, tech engrams, and a lot of XP for beating the boss fight for free. The Gamma version of the boss really gives you everything that you need. It gives you a lot of element, it gives you the replicator engram, and the Alpha version does give you the tech turret, but you don't really get any use out of the tech turret until you get the generator anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. You can carry this strategy over to the Overseer fight as well. Once you get through the tech cave with whatever means you decide to do it with, simply use your tech chestplate, fly to the roof of the arena, and shoot down the boss. The timer on top of your screen, yet again, will not cancel your fight once it gets to 0, so there's no rush at all. Just kill the drones so you don't die. Up next is Scorched Earth, and my first tip for this map is how to get Silica Pearls. Silica Pearls spawn in most of the shallow rivers, and using a whip is the most efficient way to farm these quickly because the anglers just aren't on this map because the water isn't deep enough. You can't use a whip while you're underwater, so just stay at the edge of the water and whip into the water. If you don't get some of the Silica Pearls in the middle, go farm those by hand afterwards. One more way you can get Silica and Black Pearls on this map is a Phoenix passively farming them. This is a little bit less efficient just because it's pretty slow, but it is an option. And just while I'm on this topic, killing Alpha and normal Deathworms is the other way to get Black Pearls on this map. My second tip for Scorched is taming a Jerboa and using it the entire time. The Jerboa is a really easy knockout berry tame in the early game. It warns you about the 4 weather events that you can see on screen now. It has 4 different animations when it has the 4 upcoming events. You only really need to worry about the sandstorm, but it's nice to know what all 4 mean. And it has the classic shoulder mount perks, which is being a distraction if you need to get away from something and throw it away, weight reduction, and some insulation. It's also just really cute. My third tip for Scorched Earth is farming the low tier drops. Most of Scorched Earth's difficulty comes from the early game and getting screwed by the weather, so getting something like adobe structures out of green drops just saves you so much time and skips so much of the early game.
Hello, people.
I've noticed that low tier drops on Scorched Earth are just generally more
Sorry
useful
for
than
the
other maps across
wait.
the entirety of a playthrough, but in the early game especially,
I started
you do
this
not
stream
skip
and
out
then
on these drops.
I
My
got
fourth
too
tip
far
for
into it,
Scorched Earth
so
is how to
we're
navigate
watching
the
this
really limited
right now.
flyer cast. The flyer variety on this map sucks. It's just the Lamatria, Argy, Tapajara, and Wyverns. In my opinion, you want to skip right to the Argy. The Lamatria sucks. It's just not worth your time taming because something like a Procoptodon is far better. And the Tapajara
Yeah, but the Lamatria is fun.
Whether you end up with an Argy or a Tapajara,
Am I
you want
right?
to get a Wyvern as soon as possible. The best way to do this is to simply wait by the Wyvern trench until all the Wyverns migrate away from a certain area, jump down and get any level egg you can and get out.
I usually just sacrifice an RG.
Once you get an egg, you can either use a Daedon to keep healing the Wyvern as it raises so you don't need the milk, or you can go simply get milk and raise it. Once you have your first Wyvern, getting more actually good Wyvern eggs is
It's
far
the RG
easier and is
after a
just the
minute.
best option for this map in terms of mobility by a mile. My last tip is to be aware of the generators and other power structures decaying.
I name it
These structures decay
sacrifice.
really frequently on this map,
Are
especially
going
when
to
you're
be
offline
left.
on non-dedicated servers. For the generator specifically, placing it
Pretty
inside
terrible.
Adobe structures does help regulate the temperature a lot and reduces the decay speed very, very much. And turning off the generator or wind turbines when you're not using them or you don't need them is a really effective method as well. In a cave like Central Cave, for example, you don't need to worry about the decay. The weather temperature is totally fine and there's no weather events that can hit your stuff, so you're good. The center is up next, and my first tip for this map is all about the underwater bubbles. Underwater bubbles serve 2 really awesome use cases on this map. First of all, they're just amazing base locations. The aesthetic is great, there's a lot of space, and even though the area isn't defensible for a PvP situation, in PvE there's just so many resources nearby. The other more universal use case for the underwater bubbles is for free underwater taming for any aggressive creature. The way you do this is staying just on the outside of the underwater bubble inside of the water and shooting a creature with a trank. It'll try to get to you, but it can't reach you because you're so close to the bubble, so it's a free knockout every time. Very consistent, very useful. My second tip for the center stays underwater, and this time is to farm underwater, especially in Arc Ascended. The underwater areas of the center have a ton of metal, oil, and some other resources, so having the Dunkleosteus ready to go is super worth it. The optimal method is bringing multiple Dunkleosteus that have a bunch of weight pumped into them, and then bringing a pack of Megalodons or Zifactinus to protect you. The reason you pump weight instead of melee damage for Dunkleosteus specifically is because the melee damage is already good enough, you get a ton of metal per rock, and having more weight lets your runs be longer and you get more metal overall. Making less trips, especially for underwater farming, is far more valuable than getting more per swing. My third and fourth tips for the center both revolve around the jumping puzzle cave at 52.6, 53.9 in the underworld. In my opinion, this is the hardest cave on the map just because it's the highest risk. If you fall off, you're just going to die in the lava. In Ark Survival Ascended, the cave is pretty easy because you can bring in creatures like a Thylacoleo, Megalania, or Pyromane to just get the artifact of the pack super easily in the back of the cave because you can just climb or jump up to skip it. In Ark Survival Evolved, though, you can't really bring any creature that can climb, jump super high, or use grappling hooks in the cave, so you can't skip it because they inflict a ton of damage onto your climbing creatures and the grapples just don't work. In the background of this clip, you see me running through the artifact of the pack cave on foot. This is very easily replicatable. If you have a little bit of movement speed, the cave becomes a ton easier. In Ascended, just use a Pyromane, it's immune to the lava anyway, or use a Thylacoleo or Megalania to climb
Oh, that
Building
makes
off
sense.
that last point, if you want to get more value out of the cave than just getting the artifact, which I do highly recommend by the way because this cave has the best drops on the map by far, there's multiple red drops in here every time you run it, you're going to want to run through the actual cave. If you're in Ascended, use a Pyromane, Thylacoleo, or just do it on foot like I'm showing you on screen, and in Evolved, replicate exactly what I'm doing on screen. Bring one parachute so you can skip this pretty difficult section that doesn't have any drops in it, and the rest is a breeze. I will say to try out this cave in single player first, just to get the feel of it at least once before you go into an actual server with your good stuff, but after you do practice it, it's super easy. This cave easily gives you the highest quality drops compared to the amount of time you need to spend to get them. It's very fast to run through this cave once you get used to it. There's 3 red drops every time, and the drops have really high quality loot. My 5th tip for this map is looting the bear caves for the insane amounts of metal, crystal, and the dire bear spawns. The center is known for having really high level wild creature spawns, so it's not going to take you very long to find a max level dire bear or 2. This is a really strong creature, so it's very worthwhile. Some of the bear caves are decent base spots in PvP, but in my opinion, it's really not worth building here because there's so many better options like the Pearl Cave and the North Ice Cave, which are some of the best caves in the game. On screen now are the coordinates for every single bear cave on the map. They definitely vary in quality based on the size, the amount of resources, and the amount of bears spawning in them, but they're all worth checking out at least once. Up next is Aberration, and my first tip for this map is in the late game, using dire bears to get a ton of polymer. Aberrant dire bears can farm tens of thousands of polymer like I'm showing you on screen now in the radiation/red zone. It will not take
60%.
damage due to them being native to Aberration. You can also use normal dire bears for this, but you need to use mushroom soup with it to give it a temporary 2-minute immunity to the radiation every 2 minutes so you don't die. The mushroom soup item is just really good in general. It gives you a 2-minute radiation resistance, and it gives your creatures a 2-minute radiation resistance whenever you may need that. You need to feed it to your creatures though, so you do need to make a lot of this. It's very cheap though, you can see the recipe on screen. Karkinos are also really good to farm for polymer, but it's just nowhere near as good as this. It's pretty much the best method of farming polymer in the entire game. Up next, I have the best tames you should go for to progress through Aberration easily. The first goal for progressing is to get mobility. Try to get a fast tame before all else. Something like a Yeeling, Spino, or Ravager is the best choice in my opinion. Once you get one of these creatures, go grab a light pet for yourself and then get straight to the blue zone to get Megalosaurus. The Megalosaurus is extremely strong, can kill basically anything on the map if you have a couple or if you just have it imprinted, and it's very easy to tame because it's all over the blue zone. The Megalosaurus is great for killing basically anything, going deep into the red zone to grab rock drakes, get reapers low on HP so you can get impregnated, and it's even a great bring in the boss fight because it can kill basically anything in the arena. My third tip is to take advantage of the Lamprey. The Lamprey has the ability to give you a temporary radiation resistance whenever you get hit by it, and this is useful for a couple of different applications. On screen now you can see every location the Lamprey spawns on the map. There's a couple of ways to take advantage of this ability, but the best way is probably just to go get red gems on the outskirts of the red zone when you don't have a hazard suit yet. The other thing you can do, which is a bit more complicated, is get hit by the Lamprey in the blue zone, go into the red zone, and get a new Lamprey onto you, and then go get rock drakes even deeper in the zone. You can also use this to go get something like Reapers, but if you want to get impregnated by one, just drag the Reaper out of the red zone into the blue zone. You really don't want to be on that much of a timer when you're trying to get impregnated. My fourth tip also happens in the red zone, and this time it's how to get black pearls most effectively. In the deep red zone, there's black pearl nodes that look similar to retextured silica pearl nodes, but just darker all around the element river. If you're allowing transfers onto the server, you could use a whip to farm these. If you aren't, just farm them by hand. Either way, after you get all the black pearls you want to farm, go to the Rockwell terminal and upload them. The reason you're uploading them is because they're super heavy, so after you upload them, go back to the green zone to a drop that's really close by your base, and then take them back out of the terminal there. This saves a ton of time and is very efficient. You can also use this method to just get more black pearls than you would normally be able to carry. If you're over encumbered with some, just upload half of them so you can go get more with your trip. Farming these black pearls is really out of the way, so you would like to get all of them in one trip so you don't have to make multiple dives down into the deep red zone. My last tip for Aberration is tracking the day-night cycles for drop farming. Aberration's surface biome works on a day-night cycle rotation, and it has 3 different cycles: the 10% night, 50% night, and 90% night. The reason this matters is the surface has 3 very valuable things you can go up there for, and it only is accessible during the nighttime because during the day it'll just burn you alive. The surface is the best place on the map to farm drops by a mile, it's the best place to go find Alpha Reaper Kings for the Alpha Boss Tribute, and it holds the Phaslosuchus creature, which is really good to tame for flint farming. On screen now you can see the exact times of day that it's nighttime during the 50% and 90% night cycle. I don't recommend going over there during the 10% because there's just not enough of a window for it to be worth your time. To see what day-night cycle it is, you can either press H or toggle the extended HUD and see it in the top left, or just look at your map. To see what time it is in game, just go into your inventory, it shows up in the middle. And the last thing to mention for this is it does work in a similar cycle every single time. There's 3 days for 50%, then 3 days for 90%, and then 3 days for 10%. The next map I'll talk about is Extinction, and the first tip is to use the gas bags plus Dreadmare farming combo if you have the Dreadmare. This combination is disgustingly good. The gas bags has really good mobility, is very tanky, and has fantastic weight, and the Dreadmare has the black hole ability which combos great with it. The reason it combos so well with the gas bags is that it doesn't carry over the weight that's on the creature, and the creature that gets black holed keeps its inventory while it's getting transported by the Dreadmare. The Dreadmare's black hole functions off of the drag weight of a creature. The drag weight is a totally different metric than the actual current weight on a creature, so it's perfect for the gas bags because the gas bags doesn't have a crazy high drag weight and it can carry a ton on its inventory. You basically want to go out, farm, collect all the resources or the loot drops that you get, put them all into the gas bags, which can hold all of it to the point where the gas bags is encumbered, and then put the gas bags in the black hole of the Dreadmare, and then fly around with no encumbering. My second tip for this map is using alternative farming methods to the normal maps. Extinction's resource collecting methods are not the same as every other map, so you shouldn't treat it like they are. For example, going around the sanctuary and using the Doedicurus to farm all the pre-built structures that are there for metal, crystal, electronics, and element dust is far better than using an Anki. Using a biogrinder to grind down tech creatures or just going around and killing tech creatures to farm is very viable as well. The creation of automatic farms for gotchas and for tech creatures with a biogrinder is basically a must-do. The map is just very different than every other map in the game. I absolutely recommend you look into this because there's so many great ways to get resources on Extinction that aren't available on any other map.
Extinction
My
is
third tip
such
is
an
not depending
interesting one.
solely on the OSDs for loot drops. Extinction's OSDs are very solid for loot, modifiers, and experience, but killing the Desert Titan is also a really great choice. On screen now you can see the entire loot table of drops from the Desert Titan. It gives you pretty high qualities of these items, and the boss has a bonus of also giving you early access tech engrams. Summoning the boss is also really easy. You need to do a little bit of grinding for the tributes, but the cave is very easy with a Megatherium or a Mana Garmer, and once you get to the boss fight itself, it's a total joke. Simply put a Giga on the back of a Quetzal platform saddle and go up and bite the boss in the back. It is so easy to beat this boss, the loot is really good, and if you don't want to put all the effort in for the Quetzal and Giga, just sit on the ground and shoot it with a mech. Don't get me wrong, the OSDs are still really worth doing, they're very good, they give great drops, but don't write off the Desert Titan, even if it's just for the tech engram unlocks, it's worth it. My fourth tip is using ordering groups, especially for the King Titan fight. Using ordering groups basically prevents you from sending your entire army in at once during boss fights, and on this map specifically where certain bosses can just 3-shot your army, this is helpful. This is much more applicable to Ark Survival Evolved because in Ark Ascended, you can just use the Dreadnoughtus, which you just do send
This
in all at once.
video
You
is
have
just-
over 100,000 HP
they've been so
and it's super
quiet.
strong, but in Ark Evolved,
Showed me
if
so
you're
much
using
stuff
something
I didn't
Giga for
even
the
know.
fight, it's much better to spread them out because if they all die at once,
I
you're
am
screwed. My
so
last tip
still
for this
new.
map is actually optimally setting up the gotchas and not just taming them and calling it a day. There's 3 things at minimum you should always do with gotcha farms. First, you want snow owls near your gotchas so you can get pellets into your gotchas at all times passively without you having to put them in manually. Second, you want to space out your gotchas properly so they can be happy and produce crystals at a much higher rate. Spreading them out by 12 tiles in Evolved and 10 tiles in Ascended is enough to accomplish this. And lastly, in Ark Survival Ascended, you want to have Pegomastics near your gotchas as well so you can passively grab the crystals once they're produced. There's other things you can do to optimize gotcha farms more, but these are really basic things you can do that everybody should implement when they have gotchas. The first Astraeos tip I have is getting a Meguana as soon as physically possible. The Meguana is just insanely overpowered. It's basically the Maywing. It offers really great movement in horizontal and vertical directions. It's great on land.
Yeah,
and
the
in
Maywing's
water.
pretty
It
awesome.
gives you good
though,
utility
itself.
later in the game with breeding as well, so you're always going to need one. And this map is just huge and contains a ton of water and land, so there's no reason not to go for this. On screen now are all the spawn regions for the Meguana. My recommendation is just getting a couple of billboards, trapping one as soon as physically possible, knocking it out, and being much better off for the rest of your playthrough. My second tip for
I'm
Astraeus
being
is
much better off
using
for the rest of
Ovis
your
Island.
playthrough.
Ovis Island is at 4152 on the map. It's out in the middle of the ocean, so you might not know it exists, but it is so useful. Having
Ovis
unlimited
Island.
mutton and access to mutton whenever you need it is really helpful for crafting kibbles, taming whatever creature you could possibly need. It's just a really nice utility thing. Getting unlimited pelt is also a really helpful thing. This map doesn't have too many cold areas yet, but they're planning on adding more of those in the near future, so this will be helpful too. It's out in the middle of the open, so a lot of people don't know it exists. The entire tip is just know it exists and take advantage of it. My third tip for Astraeus is downloading the map exclusive mods. Astraeus' official map release doesn't include map specific content that makes the map stand out. The first mod is called Astraeus' Mythological Creatures. This mod introduces 3 custom creatures, the Minotaur, Seahorse, and Cyclops. The other mod is called Astraeus Trireme Ships, which introduces ships that are absolutely awesome. The aesthetic of the ships is amazing, and the map is filled with water. It's literally made for these ships. One more feature of the ships that I really like is that they're immune to lead sickness, which is so nice. These mods are available for both PC and console, and I just recommend them highly. It just makes the map so much better. Both of these mods are also linked in the description of this video, and they're in the ARC resources chat on my Discord server. My Discord server also has updates on everything I'm doing in my channel, and I also use my Discord server to answer a ton of questions about the game, just talk about ARC in general, other survival games. There's a lot of cool people in there. I'd
Well,
really
look at
appreciate
good.
it if you checked it out. It's down in the description in the first link.
Now that's how you
Tip
do
is
your
utilizing
ad
the
for your
teleportation
stuff.
system. Astraeus has a biome
He just
teleportation
pops it
system
in the
that
middle
lets
for
you
a
travel around the
second.
map with ease. The map is huge, so this is a really nice
I
feature of
might
the map,
actually
and I
join his
didn't
Discord
know
now.
This map had that until I saw it when I was
I don't know about
researching
you
for
guys,
this video.
but
It functions the
I
exact
think
same
this
as
sold
how
me.
Uno works on Genesis 1 and how it works on Fjordur. You just use the set key. In PC's example, it's R. I'm not sure what it is on console. Using the set key will open up a wheel, which gives you options to teleport to different sections of the map, and it'll take you and any nearby creatures with you and keep your inventories. One more way you can take advantage of this system is putting your base very close to one of the landing spots for the teleporting. This way, when you teleport out to get resources in a certain area or to go get loot or whatever you're doing, you can teleport back in and be really close to your base. My
Yeah.
fifth and final tip for Astraeus is farming the dead Megalodon corpses that are on the beach for oil and spoiled meat. The Megalodon corpses are just all over the place on the map in pretty much every beach, and the reason these are really good to farm is a lot of Astraeus servers that I've seen are blocking oil spawns. This is because a lot of this map's resources are very condensed into one area and there's not multiple places you can farm them, so alpha tribes can block certain spots and be really annoying with it. On top of being a really good way to avoid this chokehold of not being able to get oil, these corpses also give a ton of spoiled meat, which is super helpful in the early game for getting early game narcotics. They're also just very useful if you're in the early game and can't get down to the oil spawns yet, or you're not very close to the major oil spawns. It's just a really decent alternative. It gives you a lot of oil for how easy it is to farm, and I highly recommend it. Up next is Ragnarok, and my first tip for this map is to rotationally farm. What I mean by rotationally farming is consistently making runs around the map in a clockwise or counterclockwise rotation to get a lot of value from what the map gives you. Consistently cycling through cementing paste, wyvern eggs, desert drops, and even the black pearl spawns off the beaches can be worth it, and I think all of these are worth doing. My recommendation for doing these rotations is getting a griffin. The griffin is simply the fastest flyer on the map if you use the dive optimally, and it makes getting wyvern eggs really easy too. This griffin should probably have a little bit of weight pumped just so it can carry those heavier black pearls and drops from the desert drops. You can also pick and choose what you need. For example, if you have a lot of wyvern eggs and you're already breeding a line of them, you don't need to go get more wyvern eggs, but it is a good idea at the start of the game. I would recommend doing these runs every hour to 2 hours. It's just dependent on what you actually need. If you just need the desert drops, if you just need the black pearls, you can do these runs every 30 minutes. If you want to get all 4 of the things I mentioned, including the beaver dams and the wyvern eggs as well, you're probably going to have to wait about an hour for the wyvern eggs and the beaver dams to all respawn. In the background of this entire section, I showed how you should rotate through the map. I'll show it on screen on the map right now too, where all the pinpoints are for where you want to stop by. There's 3 beaver dam locations, 2 wyvern egg locations, 1 good black pearl location, and there's 4 desert drops. My second tip is getting wyverns as early as possible. Getting wyverns on Ragnarok is a lot easier than it is on Scorched Earth. You can literally spawn on the beach, tame a pteranodon, get a saddle on it, and then go get a wyvern egg within 20 minutes of playing the game. I don't recommend doing this. I recommend spawning in Viking Bay and then going over here later and getting the eggs, but I'll get to that later. The point is, once you get into the trench and steal an egg, simply go out back to the highlands and fly under a Bronto's legs. This will switch aggro from the wyverns onto the Bronto, and you're good to fly away. It is easy, it is foolproof. There's a ton of Brontos spawning in the highlands all the time. You're not going to have trouble finding any, and then you have yourself free wyvern eggs. My third tip for this map is farming the lava golem cave. The entrance to this cave is at 18.7, 27.8, and the drops and the mini boss drops are really good, and they're pretty easily accessible too. I recommend bringing a couple of grappling hooks, a couple of parachutes, upgrading your movement speed if you're an Arc Evolved, and using the grass.sizescale_0 command if you're an Arc Ascended. The reason this command works really well in Ascended, I'm assuming, is because there's grass blocking the pressure plates so you can't see them at the start of the cave, so using this command will remove this grass. Yet again, this is speculative because the map hasn't come out, but I'm almost certain this is going to work. I'm not going to get into the specifics of how to beat this cave. There's guides online for it. Just be careful of the choke points if you're playing PvP, and if you enable transfers, a Volanosaur is a really great way to kill the boss. To actually get the loot from the boss, you need to go land on the boss.
All these tips are nice, even though I'm not to this
The lava isn't
map
instant kill
yet.
throughout the entire cave, so be careful with
We were
parachutes and
going for Scorched Earth though, so let's go back. Anyways, let's take a peek. 91. We're almost there, guys. One more video, most likely. Ooh. Maybe we'll finish this then.
And shoving them up its bum for the best tame and efficiency. Equipping a full set of ghillie is always a good idea, while spraying yourself down with that fresh bug repellent. Ideally, after breaking the hive open or finding one in the wild, you need to feed it right away or switch between letting it calm down, going out to render, and running in again to spam the feed button in hopes that it will tame up. I do have a few cheeky tips on how I like to tame one here in this video. Link will be in the description of the video and in a pinned comment. The roaming bees are much easier to tame due to not having to aggress upon their belongings. Spray yourself down with some bug repellent and run on in for the quick feed. Once tamed, you can turn the bee into a hive. It then goes into your inventory as a placeable structure. Place inside or near your greenhouse, chuck in a few stacks of rare flowers to keep it alive, and it will produce honey over time. Honey is an extremely important resource used for crafting the highest quality of kibble, sweet vegetable cakes, and used in many other crafting
Sweet
recipes,
veggie
which is why I
cakes.
chose the bee over the dire bear in taking this spot on the list.
You remember you, but I love sweet
Therizinosaurus is a
veggie cakes.
territorial and deadly herbivore. It is another very popular dino that can do almost anything and everything. Found typically around the dense jungles on most maps, or rarely in the wasteland on extinction. Tamed via typical knockout methods and preferring exceptional kibble for the best taming efficiency. Once tamed, can be saddled up at level 69. Equipped with 3 attacks, 8 points attack, great for
Okay. Not gonna let me use. Rat holes, that's a weird one. What the hell that means? Anyways. Sounds weird. See, ripples. What's that? Uh, yeah, let's see what I should be looking for. What do I need for sports shirt? This is the first one that pops up.
Hello, welcome back
Hopefully it
for
doesn't.
another Ark Survival Ascended. Today we're
Hey, it's that
diving
guy
into the
again.
top
I like
10
him.
creatures you need to tame
Oh.
on the Scorched Earth map. So without further
I
ado, let's get
yes, I
started.
have
In
to
at number 10
subscribe
is
to
going
him
to be
now.
Megatherium, being an extremely useful creature for many occasions. As an omnivore, it excels at gathering meat, berries, fiber, silk,
Ooh.
cactus sap, chitin, and many more. With a decent weight stat, high health pool, and high damage, and having one of the deadliest buffs
It's
in
like
the
a
entire
giant
game.
teddy
Whenever it
bear.
kills bugs, it will receive the insect killer buff, where the Megatherium's damage will be
But like a
multiplied
rat,
by
too.
375%,
Like all the key
and will
things of a
reduce
rat.
all incoming damage by around 75%, making the Megatherium an absolute powerhouse.
Speaking of which,
Being a
I'm gonna
scorched
get
earth
my
is
mice
full of
some more
bugs, the
tea.
Megatherium will thrive when exploring most caves, clearing them out with ease, and is also extremely useful when exploring the desert. Being able to easily take down the Goliaths that are deathworms and alpha.
Their treats are
Adding to this, you can wield your weapons while riding, and if your Megatherium does take too much damage, when accessing its radial menu, it does have the sit option, which will give it a small buff, reducing its food consumption by 50% and recovering its health by 2% per second, which will heal up to 50%. All of this combined makes the Megatherium a very strong battle mount and an extremely useful creature in terms of utility, which is why it makes the list. In at number 9 is the Rock Elemental, quite possibly the most expensive creature to tame on the list, as the best way to tame these Goliaths is via cannonballs to the face, but it is well worth it once you manage
Cannonballs
to
to
tame
the
Rock Elemental
face.
has a great weight stat, extremely high health pool, and high damage. It is the tank of Scorched Earth, most likely being the go-to method of soaking bullets. When playing PvP, they take 50%
You know, just how you say
damage
hi to
from incoming
things.
creature attacks. Being completely immune to wyvern elemental attacks makes them perfect in dealing with clusters of wyverns. With its
Cannonball
melee
right in the
attack and
face.
range
They're so
attack, both
fucking
have the
mean.
ability to damage stone structures. The
That's
range
crazy.
block throw will obliterate stone and can be scaled by leveling up its melee damage to make the attack even more devastating, and also has the option to be set into turret mode, making it a great base defender. You definitely don't want to be
Okay,
too
so
any builders like this.
96.
They are also pretty handy for gathering resources, being great for harvesting sand, stone, wood, and many more. The rock golem is a must-have when diving into the world of Scorched Earth. Taking the number 8 spot is going to be the Rex. The Rex's high health pool and high damage output is undeniably unrivaled by any dinosaur on Scorched Earth. It is pound for pound the best boss killer. It also does have the perk of being able to equip a tech saddle, making the Rex a serious force to be reckoned with. It's no surprise to see the Rex make it to the list. Coming in at number 7 is going to be the Argentavis. Oh yes, jack of all trades.
I love the
Archie.
RG.
The Argentavis is extremely
The RG
valuable
is
for
so
many
fucking cool.
reasons, most likely being the go-to flyer for
Yeah,
transportation.
I think that's gonna be the
especially
one that I
fast
get
on
right
heavy
away.
loads. With its high weight and high stamina stats, and having weight reduction for a wide variety of heavy resources, and still
That's
makes
gonna be the one that I go
Argentavis
for
an Allosaurus
first.
combination.
It's just
the
so
go-to for
useful.
farming and transporting all that tasty metal. Once saddled, it can be used as a portable smithy, making it exceptionally useful for crafting those expensive blueprints that you could never craft in a smithy. Being able to craft and repair your gear can be invaluable when out exploring. They also make very good battle mounts, having a decent health and damage stat, with the rapid regeneration buff at its disposal, which will activate whenever the Argentavis bites or consumes a carcass. The Argentavis will rapidly regenerate health and stamina at an alarming rate for 20 seconds. The buff will also be refreshed with every bite of a carcass. The Argentavis makes for a perfect taming.
Oh yeah, I'm
with
gonna have
its
to buy
ability
half
to
the
carry
Pyro
two
main
creatures at
soon.
once, being able
So I
to
have it
carry
on
small to
PlayStation,
medium
so
creatures in its talons,
gonna have to
while
buy that.
simultaneously carrying small creatures in its mouth. The amount of
Mm-hmm.
utility that the
would
Argentavis
love to
brings
see
to the
that. I
table
said that.
is
That's great.
unrivaled. In at number 6 is going to be the Mantis, which quite possibly has one of the coolest abilities in the entire game. Being able to dual wield metal tools and weapons.
But I liked it.
makes
It was
Mantis
really
useful for
useful.
many
and cute.
things, whether it be Equipping it with metal hatchets or picks can make short work of any harvesting task. Or equipping pikes or swords paired with leveling melee damage can make short work of any foe that decides to tangle with you. In addition to this, the coolest of all, handing them dual-wield wooden clubs, where you'll be able to go on a tear around the map, knocking out even the largest of creatures in just a few hits, which makes knockout taming much easier, much cheaper, and much more fun. And if
You guys
a player is
ready?
ever on the receiving
You
end
guys
of an
ready?
angry mantis with wooden clubs, well,
It's time to hear that beautiful music. Well, that was really nice. We're just gonna turn window capture off right now, but we'll keep that in mind so we can use it another time. Hopefully you guys like this. We're about to change this logo and go with a new one soon. So this is our old logo. One of my favorite logos we have made. Caesar, come on. Caesar. Will you stop trying to be bad boy? Will you just lay down and be good boy? Maybe grab your toy. Anyways, I'm sorry guys. It's time for Ark. Oh, it's Christmas Ark already? Let's go back. Because I just heard Christmas music, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we'll take a quick peek in here and see what's in here. Holiday Haven. Well, we're not doing paid mods right now. There's something free maybe, but I don't really want to buy anything right now. I just kind of want to play the game. Magic and Advanced Alchemy. That's pretty cool. Me and Claire might try that. I'll keep it in my back pocket and then we'll... Actually, let's make sure we add it to our favorites. Can I only do that if I download it? Fine. Let's go with, realms. I don't know that one. Ooh, crossbow version. Mutant Aftermath. Ooh. Firewolf. Okay. Interesting. Kind of like that. Now those are options that I can implement into my games whenever I want. Oh, before I go back, we need to grab some clothes. I'm not happy with the clothes that I have. The clothes mod should be better. The ones that I have. Not the clothes mod. You guys get Ooh, that. Why don't I have this? That is awesome. Dead Rabbits Gaming. Camo weapon and ghillie outfit. Oh yeah. Sure. When I get there, those will be useful. RP outfits, he said. Pumpkin head helmet. DC, but I don't really care for DC. No idea what that is. I know I got the extra life stuff already. Herbicide. I have Frylock there. The Anubis one, which is kind of weird. Sci-fi wardrobe. Now we're talking, guys. Who doesn't want a Deathstroke mask? Hello? Hmm. Cowboy hat. Definitely something my friend's gonna want. I like this CD. Ooh, extra hairstyles. Don't mind if I do. Who doesn't like the look? I'm just gonna go with it. Flying Nimbus. Okay. Launch. Lay down, dude. Will you chill out? I'm trying to do this. I'm just playing the game. It's fine. Trying to pay attention the whole time. You're fine. Dude, stop licking. You don't like the taste of your saliva. Your saliva tastes gross. I don't want kisses. I love you. But I don't love the taste of your mouth. Swanchy, stop. Go lay down now. What are these anime characters? I definitely haven't seen Nah. Anyway, so we're gonna do scorched earth and just see what's going on in our little house. Here's my door. Yeah, I was using the controller. This is way easier. That's better. I don't know why it takes an hour to fucking roll. Nobody turned the controller on. That's nice. Yeah, these guys don't mess around. Oh shit. So to combat the light in my face, I'm doing this. Making it a little bit. Well, now we gotta work on making some rotten food. And then we're gonna check everyone's things. Okay. We're putting these away too. And trading them out for these. Everything's gonna die now. There we go. We'll figure everything out later. I was due for some health, so I just did it all at once for obvious reasons. Ooh, that would have been hilarious. What are you doing? He's laying down. You want love? Okay. Now I probably made enough of these. So 4 altogether. So that's pretty useful. Okay. Let me try game. We should have more. That's a lot of hide. It's a good amount. Let me go check his inventory. Make sure he has a nice variety. Again, only one of these that we have. I want to be strong and everything. What are we missing? Plant. And charcoal. I have a fire in here somewhere. Oh, I don't have a fire. Really weird, I don't have a fire yet. Flint, thatch, stonewood. Chicken thatch. And some water right there. All at once. Do you want some water? Okay, I'll grab you some water. Just a second. Okay. You want some water? I like the whole crown thing. Dude, will you stop? Sorry. I'll be back. The dog wants some water, so I must obey. Anyways, if you're still here, the name came from like the whole the Harlequin the clown thing from the French theater thing, and then my last name is Jade, so a nice little balance. How's your night going? Oh shit. It's time to get in my hands. Oh hey, I had a controller. I was playing with a different thing. Anyway, we're going to see play in fiber. Okay, make one. I almost died there, didn't I guess? Much. There you go. Good boy. Wasn't that good? Stop licking my mouth. He's so pushy. I love him, but he's just kind of a butthole. Aren't all dogs though? To some degree. Oh, finally. I can do this. If it, what's the name of the hell? Oh, duh. There we go. I have that. Maybe I can. Oh, I can only do one. I like having two doors. I guess it'll work for right now. Little storm passes. I think this is not. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna need more thatch. That. We're gonna need a lot of cactus hat. So we'll see. Ooh, that gives us a lot more cactus hat than I expected it would. And then let's see how much this gives us again. What a thatch. And I love thatch shit. Those guys eat a lot. I don't know if I like that, but because we gotta deal with it. Now we're gonna go get further into this desert. We only have that. I guess we'll grab a stack of 300 with that. And then one stack of that. Thought we had more wood, so we're gonna have to go and grab more wood real quick. We definitely better have enough cactus. Oh my god, Squanchy. Give me a minute. Always need to. I get it. Give me a minute. I know it's always about you. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let me finish my task. Always such a brat. Okay, so we'll be back. I'm gonna put on some music and then the thing and the thing. Yeah, you go. I need it. I need it. Hope everything else. Oh yeah, that's what I think. Okay, yeah, so what I want to do